Well, guys, it is into August right now, and it is getting very, very close to deer season. In South Carolina, deer season starts, I believe, this next week, but right now I'm up in Ohio. Had to come up for some family and personal stuff, but deer season here starts end of September. So it is time to get some trail cameras out, get some corn out, kind of see what kind of deer I'm going to be working with, because I'm coming up for an entire week it's like the last week of September or last week of October into the first week of November to hunt pre-rut and the beginning of rut. So I want to know kind of what kind of deer I'm working with. I've got my main property, which, if you guys have watched a little bit before, I hunt two pretty small pieces of land. The one is 15 acres, only 2 acres of it is actual huntable land, but it has big deer on it usually. And then the other piece is like 25 acres with their house in the middle of it. So it makes it a little difficult, but there's usually some pretty good deer there too. I didn't hunt that at all last year or the year before, so it's going to be interesting seeing what all is out there. So anyways, that's what we're going to be doing today. Going to be doing that, and then at the end may test out saddle a little bit and shoot the bow and sight it in, because I just got some new arrows, so we may talk about that too. So anyways, let's just head on out, get some of this stuff hung up and ready, and let's prepare for the 2024 deer season. Spot number 1. Got some corn out. Trail camera right here. So I've had some pretty big deer right here at this spot. Just waiting, making sure everything's good on my Tacticam. That way I'm getting pictures and I'm ready to go. So both this and the other spot, I'm gonna go throw a bag of corn at real quick that I put the other camera on the other side of this ridge where I'm at, is good to go right now. So basically, this is a big wood section in the front of this lady's property, probably about a 10 to 15 acre wood section. And across the road are some ponds where all the deer like to go and get some water at, and then also bed in the thicket around it. Right here, she has like 25 acres or so. There's a backwoods where they also go to bed at, and they use this as like a little transition area to get from spot to spot. So I've got one camera in the thick woods, and then if you guys can kind of see right down here, there's a little creek that runs through, and on the other side there's a ridge with a pathway that the deer go from the backwoods across the field through this little CRP type field or a hay field into the little path through that and on the other side of the ridge. So the backwoods a little sketchy. Had a neighbor where their bullets were flying into it before when they were out shooting in their backyard. Don't want to deal with that, so I'm mainly sticking to the front woods. I know the deer come up here a lot to go to the ponds, so I'm really trying to dissect where these deer are coming from, if they're coming through this side of the woods over there, if they're coming through the other side, or if there's two different area deer coming through this woods and using it as a transition area or a travel corridor. So I've got one camera here on this side, one camera on the other side of this ridge. Let's go bring the bag of corn over there and show you guys that, and then we'll get going to the next spot. It is so nice to be doing this in 75 degree weather instead of 90 degrees on what it is down in South Carolina right now. Actually probably hotter than that down there right now. Storm just came through, probably high 90s right now. Oh well, makes it easier on me carrying this in cooler temps. Alright, so I just got a little bit of corn there, 50 pounds, not too much, but right back through here there is all the thick woods. There's probably another few acres of woods right here behind this area. It's hard to kind of see in the video, but this is a path right here that goes on this side of the ridge, and then it drops down into the creek and goes to the other side of the ridge. I've seen, heck, anywhere from 15 to 20 scrapes at a time down through that little path where the deer during rut go crazy. So this spot usually don't have much activity until rut kicks up, and that's going to be the time I'm going to be here. So I'm hoping for the best. At least wanted to get an idea on if these deer travel on this side of this ridge or the other side or both, or if there's different deer going from different areas. So once this corn's cut, which hopefully it'll be before rut, but I doubt it because it's usually really late here where they cut the corn, probably late November. But where these pines are and the hardwoods are on the other side of this, their house is right over there, and they've got about a few acres of pines or hardwoods on both sides of the house. So those deer should use that field, come through that corn, which they probably already do. There's some corn stalks knocked down, and then right over through here to the ridge to head over to the pond, because that's the closest water source in really a really good ways, probably a mile or two. So anyways, now off to the next spot. Well, I'm out at my better deer property and got a little bit surprised. Haven't been here since November, maybe December, and this place was thicker than you could imagine. You couldn't even walk through other than just one small area where I cut a path through, and there was one little section which made it really good because there was one opening into the woods with a little water hole. I put corn there. It sometimes had water, sometimes it was dry, and they loved it there. Had some really big bucks there, and then they would go bed down in the super thick stuff. It's just a very small piece of property. And then I get here and I see this. It was completely clear cut, not like clear cut, but came in with a mulcher, cut absolutely all of the honeysuckle out. So as you guys can see, this is what it looks like now, which I was thinking was a bad thing at first, and then I was walking out after I came in here kind of shocked, making sure that all my stuff hadn't been cut up, which it hadn't. He made sure everything where I was at, he left it thick right there, which is good. Still adds a little barrier right here in between this, the CRP field on the neighbor's property. So everything was good, but I was a little bit shocked thinking this is gonna be a bust now. But on the way out, there were 3 deer coming from the other side, where his barn is up there, right behind the barn. 3 deer coming out of the really thick woods over there and trying to come on in here. So it was right after I dumped corn out. So maybe they smelled it, maybe they still use it. Right here, this path I'm walking, there's a little creek right down here in the bottom of this piece of property, and there's deer tracks in here, somewhat fresh ones. So maybe these deer are still using it. I don't know. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping it's going to be all right, and the deer are still going to use it pretty heavily. Only thing I've got to change now is, since there was an opening over there that I was using with the corn at for the deer to come through, I moved the corn right over here on this side of the property. This used to be thick, big bedding area, but on the other side right here there's a field, and the deer used to, sometimes I would see them, they would walk around and go up to their house because they got an apple tree in their backyard, and they would just bypass the woods. So maybe now, if I'm gonna cut a little clearing right here on my landowner property, so then they can come, have easy access in here, don't have to walk around. I've got a trail camera on that tree right there, got some corn, got a stand right there, another stand there, which is a pretty far shot from that stand. Doable, but it's far, it's probably 40 yards. But if they come in through the main section over there where they used to come in through, should be a real easy shot for that person to be able to shoot at. So anyways, I'm gonna cut this little path right here, and it's, I don't know, not feeling super optimistic about this. This place had some big bucks. The neighbors right here, I've seen multiple 150, 160 plus inch bucks here. I haven't gotten one. The neighbors shot them every year, so then I just end up, the one I was after, the neighbors end up getting, because he has 80 acres. I've got 2 huntable acres right next to it that they happen to pass through. So I'll usually see a lot of bucks, just nothing giant until right around rut, when they start to really start traveling. Then I have them on camera in daylight here. Usually it's been when I've been at work though. So I'm not feeling too optimistic. guess we're gonna find out. A good thing is about moving here, where I used to have the corn, you can now see from his house. You can see it from the house right here too, but it has a little bit more cover because they left a lot of brush right here along this little ditch line. So that's what I'm hoping for the best. But now I'm gonna cut some of this honeysuckle right on the property line. That way the deer can come over here and yeah, that they still hopefully come use this section. So I'm gonna get to working on this and may show you guys after. May just end up seeing you guys back at the house. All right, so we're back at the house and now it is time to shoot a little bit. Pretty much after that property, I kind of got a few things trimmed up for some paths for some deer to come through. Wasn't sure if it was gonna really be that good this year for deer after they came through and pretty much mulched everything in there except for the big trees, but see if it continues on that way. Hopefully it does. Hopefully the deer stay consistent. Maybe, who knows, it'll help with deer crossing through there a little bit since it's not so thick and they don't try to walk around it instead of through it with as thick as it is. But anyways, now we are going to be shooting a little bit. I just recently got some new arrows, and these new arrows I got are right here. They're the RIP TKO 300 spine, and yeah, I threw some Boning X3 vanes on it. See how I like these vanes. My old arrows that I'm still going to be using probably for this bow, the new RIP TKOs, these are primarily for my newest bow when I get one, because I'm planning on getting a 75 or 80 pound draw bow, just to give a little bit more for whenever I decide to go out west and do stuff like that. That way I don't have to have as big a lines between my sight tape dots or yardage. So right here, RIP TKO 300 spine. My old arrow is the Easton Axis 4mm match grade. These I've got AAE hybrid 26s on. These Bonings are 3-inch. Really, because of the Easton Axis being a 4mm, it's got a little bit higher GPI. I think that they're like 8.9. Actually, yeah. So if I would have gotten a 300 Easton Axis or Easton Axis 4mm, it was like a 9.8 GPI, to where the 340s is the same GPI as what the 300 RIP TKOs are. So these arrows have almost the exact same grainage on them. I think these RIPs now, after I took the wraps off and refletched, they're somewhere around that 300 or 436, 437 grain mark, where the Easton Axis 4mm are around 338, 339. Only difference is the FOC. The FOC in this feels a little bit heavier. I can definitely feel that the Easton Axis is more front heavy, as you can see there, than what the TKO is. So that's going to be the only difference in here. Other than that, though, they should shoot fairly similar to each other with my Matthews Phase 4. So I'm going to get shooting these. I'm curious on how much drop and how much difference these are going to make, because one other difference on here is these 4mm, not sure if you can see, have a right helical 2 degree, and my RIP TKOs has a left helical 3 degree. So a little bit more helical on the RIPs than what the Easton 4mm have too. Change over to left helical just because I've been doing a lot of research about arrows lately, and the way your arrow naturally spins, some people say you want to follow that with your fletch. That way you don't lose any of the any of the energy trying to correct it and bring it back. Shop I go to, I don't think they really believe in that too much, and you're really not losing much at all doing the right helical versus left helical. So we're gonna find out today if there's much. I know I did a max helical left. I lost quite a bit of speed on it. Max helical at 50 yards, I was dropping about 8 to 10 inches lower than I was with the 4mm, and they were the same weight. So I'm assuming that that is all because of being a max helical left compared to only a 2 or 3 degree. So today we are going to be trying that 3 degree left versus a 2 degree right, see if the right versus left makes any difference, and also see if 1 degree is going to make any difference at all on the actual helical. So I got 3 arrows of each. We're going to start off at 20 yards with the 4mm. I do not expect 20 yards to be any different between either arrow, as it's 20 yards. It really shouldn't make that much of a difference, because if I'm shooting 20 to 30 yards, really any arrow is going to hit about the same place. So I haven't shot in a while either, so that could make a little bit of a difference too on how these arrows actually perform at this distance. I actually don't even think I'm going to shoot 3 of each at 20 yards. I'm really just shooting at 20 just to make sure everything flies good and make sure I'm good and back into the routine of shooting. So I'm only going to do 2 of them at this distance, and then we're going to move back. Probably gonna go quite a bit back and just go back all the way to, so now shooting the RIP TKO. I can tell you right there, the RIP TKO seemed to shoot a little bit more straight than the 4mm did, just off what I can see when shooting. But like I said, this is 20 yards. It's not going to be too much of a difference. Okay, I lied. We're actually at 50 yards. 60's back here, a little bit farther. Can shoot it, but haven't shot in a while. Don't really want to go back any farther than this, and it gets hard to see the target because of the little hill in the middle of the way I'm shooting. So axis 4mm, 2-degree right helical with these. This is what the bow is actually sighted in for. So should be pretty good with these arrows. And then we'll see from here. But these ones shouldn't have any issues at all at this distance. That one was a little bit low. Could just be me also, because like I said, I haven't shot a huge amount lately, as I don't really have a place to shoot at right now that's pretty close to the house. So could have been me. That's why we're shooting 3 arrows. That one was low too. Probably bump my sight tape down a little bit. Oh, and there goes the target. That one was better though. I'm gonna go get those 3, stand the target back up. Then we're gonna shoot 3 more of the Easton 4mm. That way I just get a few more shots before, make sure those ones are really set and good. So then we can get to the TKOs and really have a better understanding of if they're gonna change much with the flight pattern or not. That one was really low. Oh, that one was my fault. I didn't think I put pit pressure on the trigger yet. Definitely did. Definitely did. Disregard that one. One more of the Easton Axis. So I would say I need to bump my sight tape, because that one hit the same spot as the other one. But if these RIP TKOs hit better at this range, since they're just a few grains lighter, maybe hunting with these RIPs this year instead. It's a little bit higher. A lot of this could be me. I could have changed how I'm shooting too, since I haven't shot in a while. I think that hit about the same spot. We'll shoot one more and then gonna bump my sight tape just a hair. That one was low, just a tiny bit, I think. I'm gonna check that. So the RIP's TKOs definitely hit just a tad higher than what the 4mm do. Gonna pull those. I'm gonna bump my sight tape probably to 52 yards. instead of right now it's set at 50 yards because I am at 50 yards right here. If 52 yards works, then I'm just going to change my sight tape because all of these for the most part are still low, unless it is just me. So that's why I'm going to shoot one more round. 3 4mm, 3 RIP TKOs. Let's go grab them and get shooting. That arrow sounded very weird. That one was low. I already saw that. I don't know how low, but it was low. So, all right. So, as you guys can see, the RIP TKOs had a little bit better on that, other than the last one, which I knew I kind of screwed up. I said that one was low as soon as I shot. The Easton Axe 4mm, 2 weren't bad. This one was the one that I knew felt weird when I shot 2, so I'm gonna have to check that arrow, the squareness of the arrow, see if there's anything up with that, and may also check this one too. So anyways, other than that, just a tad bit low. I think I just need to move my sight tape a tiny bit. But there we have it. After shooting like that, granted we didn't shoot super far distances, but 50 yards, I'm willing to bet if I go back farther, there's not going to be almost any difference between a right and a left helical at that minor of a degree helical. If you go with a max degree, you're probably going to start seeing the differences, but I think that's just a max versus 2-3 degree helical. So I don't know. I'm not convinced off of just shooting with these so far that a left versus a right helical makes any difference on accuracy or speed or energy or anything like that. But I don't know. Guess we're going to find out after a little bit more shooting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm excited for the 2024 deer season. Already planning an entire week to come up here to Ohio to hunt. Whether or not my places that I've got right now end up being any good or not, I don't know. I hope so, but I am not really holding my breath for it right now because of how they've changed since moving. So gonna still try to find a few more places to possibly hunt when I come back. That way I have a few options in case those places don't pan out. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you have so far, we will see you in the next one.